Hi everyone, this week is Parshat Chukat and Balak. Chapter 19 opens with the law of Paraduma. Zos Chukat Torah, Asher Tziva Adonai Leimor, Tabel B'nei Yisrael V'ikhoy Lecha Paraduma. Translated, this is the decree of the Torah, which God has commanded, saying, speak to the Jewish people and take to you a red cow. This red cow, Paraduma, was sacrificed and burnt. Its ashes then were mixed with water and used to ritually purify those who became ritually impure. This mitzvah is characterized as a chok, which basically means the reason behind the mitzvah is beyond human comprehension. There's no rhyme or reason other than it's a decree from God. The next chapter, chapter 20, fast forwards us 38 years with a new generation born in the wilderness, who are on the cusp of entering the promised land, Eretz Yisrael. However, chapter 20 begins, sadly, with the death of Miriam and ends with the death of Aaron. And sandwiched in between these events are the sin of Moshe hitting the rock and its consequences of Moshe and Aaron denied entry into Eretz Yisrael. And to top it all off, the refusal by the king of Edom to deny B'nai Yisrael passage through the land. To say the very least, chapter 20, not the most uplifting chapter in the Torah. Two questions. What lesson can we derive from these tragic and seemingly depressing events found in chapter 20, which take place shortly before the new generation is to enter the promised land? And two, is there a connection between this sad chapter in Jewish history being preceded by the mitzvah of Paraduma, the ultimate example of a chok, mitzvah which are beyond our comprehension? Rabbi Chaim Shmulevitz, based on Orach Chaim, asks, wouldn't it be more precise for the Torah to introduce the mitzvah Paraduma as this is the decree of the red cow, or the decree of the purity, but instead, this is the decree of the Torah, Zot Chukat Torah? He answers that the reason for the phrase, this is the decree of the Torah, is by performing the mitzvah of the red cow, a mitzvah which makes no sense, testifies to a person's sincere belief and genuine desire to fulfill it simply because it reflects the will of Hashem. The same emunah, faith, can be applied to all our observances of every mitzvah, even the ones that make sense to us. The red cow, therefore, strengthens our belief and trust in our Creator and His plans for us. Returning to the original two questions, perhaps the mitzvah Paraduma is to strengthen B'nai Yisrael's faith in Hashem as they experience an upheaval to their daily routines which are about to take place. Just as a new era is about to dawn on the Jewish people, their steady leadership of Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam comes to an abrupt end. Their leaders from birth will be absent. The nations of the world will challenge their very right to exist. It doesn't make sense, yet it is God's decree. Rav Hirsch reiterates that the purpose of experience of wandering in the wilderness for 40 years was to educate and cultivate the Jewish people's faith in their Creator. We as a people or as individuals sometimes experience difficulties in our lives that are not of our own making. Para Aduma reminds us that there will be moments where life is messy, confusing, challenging, and simply put, doesn't make any sense. Para Aduma can teach us about cultivating an unyielding faith in Hashem's plans for us and the world. Who would have thought through the sprinkling of ashes of a red cow shines forth the light of purity? Shabbat Shalom.